So, should we teach black kids American history? Comment right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logic Reason. As always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. As we know, in today's society, anytime there's a lack thereof from black people, black people don't measure up with any area in society. Many blacks are quick to run to blame the white man, to blame America, to blame all this oppression, alleged oppression that doesn't exist anymore. They got to keep clinging to the past to try to use the past to fuel their anger today, as I always say. Now, when it comes down to black kids' performance in school, there's no difference here. As I always let black children lag behind white kids. It's amazing how it's always black versus white. In America, they always ignore all the other races. It's just black versus white and everything. And always comparing ourselves to white people. And if we're not equal to or on par with white people, regardless of what it is, it's racism. Racism is always the answer. Anyway, so the lower performance from black kids is being blamed on racism, even though, like I say, they can't say money because there's no evidence that there's a lack of funding for black kids. Right? There's not even any evidence to show that the amount of funding has any bearing on the output and performance. Right? The most cost effective and the best performing education is homeschools. That the evidence is showing, and that's very inexpensive. So it has nothing to do with money. It's other factors that's involved that they want to ignore. But anyway, one of the excuses that they use to try to say why black kids are not doing very well, as well as white kids in school, is this notion of they're traumatized by history. Right? They're traumatized by how black people were treated in America. The history of America's treatment of black people. At one time, we were enslaved. Or blacks, not we. I never say we because I've never been enslaved. So I say they. At one point in time, they were enslaved. We all agree with it. Again, at one point in time, they were oppressed by segregation and Jim Crow. And at one point in time, they were treated as second-class citizens, but that's not the case anymore. There's no black person who's treated as a second-class citizen in the United States of America. There's no black person, as I've always keep saying, there's nothing that a black man cannot do, achieve. There's no opportunity, no lifestyle, no occupation, no career that a black man cannot participate in just for being black. But yet we still keep living in this victimhood. Now, if these black kids, and my question is, if all of these black kids can't function in school, they can't learn, having behavior problems, constantly cutting up, and which is the reason why they're more likely to be suspended, has nothing to do with race. If they're doing this because of being the past trauma of something that they never seen, then why are we telling them this? I mean, if I had to choose between telling my children about America's history and how America's was his bad, historical treatment of black people, and knowing it's going to cause them such mental harm and trauma that they're not going to properly learn, they have learning disabilities and learning problems by knowing this, or not telling them this and they don't have this trauma, then honestly, I won't tell my kids. I would rather them not know history than for them to know history and they can't function like civilized human beings. Even though that old saying, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. I know that's the case, and that's why it's good for people to know history. But if I have to, if knowing history is going to be worse than not knowing it, well, I'd rather not know the history. Again, that's just my 2 cents on it. So why are we teaching our kids this history then if it's going to cause them all this harm? So I say stop teaching American history to black kids then. That would make sense. Again, this is my 2 cents on it. Everybody's going to be different. Who cares? It's all nonsense in the first place because history has no bearing on your learning. But anyway, y'all, it's just to show you more in how insane that black people can be. The black kids, our performance in school has nothing to do with no history. It has to do with how they raising these badass kids in these schools who go into school to be badass kids to disrupt the classrooms. But anyway, y'all, as always, 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 until next time, and of course, lack of fathers.